Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's only me again, and thank you very much for tuning in for another round of metal detecting related content. That's right, in this video we aren't out doing any metal detecting, but I have got my hands on the brand new app that XP Metal Detectors have released called Go Terrain. And yep, we are going to be going through this app today, demonstrating what it can do, all the features, and basically how you're going to be able to use it for your metal detecting days out. So really interesting story actually. This app wasn't due to be released in the UK yet, and unfortunately it's not available in many other countries. I think it's only France and the UK at the moment. But yeah, it was a bit of an accidental release, so don't blame us guys. You know, it was just a case of it was on the store, so we downloaded it and we got out there and we started to test it. It's looking like a really good app, so don't be shy. Anybody can use this app. You could be a Minelab user, you could be absolutely anyone at all. If you want to download and use this app for your days out metal detecting, then it is open to absolutely everybody. And in this video we're just going to be going through some of the settings, how you would use it, what the buttons do, and those sorts of things, just to try and make it easier for everybody that might be downloading the app who might not be a little bit tech savvy. So hopefully this video is going to help everybody. It's a really simple app to use, so don't be put off by it at all. It's very similar to how Google Maps runs in your car. It's essentially a navigation software. It uses the GPS chip built inside of your mobile device. It logs your location, and then essentially what you can do is, if you have got an XP machine, is pair it to your XP machine so that when you go over a target, the data that your XP machine reads actually appears on your phone. It makes it a lot easier to log finds when you find them, and it also gives you the chance to log the VDI numbers as well. But that's getting ahead of myself. Let's not get too technical at the moment. Let's dive into the app, guys. Let's see what it's all about, how we're going to download it, how we're going to get it on your device, and more importantly, what it does. Okay, so before we actually dive into the app, how we download it, how we get it, and how we operate it, I just want to show you a little promotional screenshot that XP have put out. And this really clearly demonstrates what a previous session might look like on the Go Terrain app. So what's actually going on here is that you've got 3 different coloured routes, and that must mean that there were 3 people starting from this point here. Now the guy in green, he's gone around this field and he's marked that he's found a gold ring here. And this guy up here in the red, he's gone up and around this field, and he's marked a couple of little items along the way. And the guy in blue, he's obviously gone up here and he's found a really nice gold annular brooch. So as you can see, this is clearly demonstrating a group dig. So this wouldn't look like that if you were on a solo dig. But if there was 3 of you going out in the field and you wanted to go out and try different things, then it's live data. So what's going to happen is that the guy in green is going to see when the guy in blue finds something. And he's also going to see that the guy in blue is walking all around this particular path here. And he'll see that live data. And it's really cool. You know, I can imagine it's quite good for group digs, or if you're in a group where there's quite a few of you that have gone out and you don't want to go over the same person's line or their permission, then, you know, it's a really good tool, and it can be really handy, especially if you are using the live data side of it. So yeah, that's the little promotional screenshot. I just wanted to go through that with you, but let's dive into the app now, and yeah, let's take a look. Okay, so you're going to get your app from your app store. So if you're an Android user, you are going to be using the Google Play Store. And if you're an Apple user like myself, then you're just going to be going onto the App Store. And all you really need to do here is just literally click on here and type in Go Terrain. And that is literally all you need to do. There is only one version of the app, regardless of what type of detector you use. And there it is, ready to be downloaded. Please do remember that this is only available for certain countries at the moment, but I don't think it's going to be very long until it is available worldwide, especially now that the sort of cat's out the bag, as it were. So I've already downloaded it, so it says open, but yours should say install, so you would click that, put your credentials in, and then that will install to your phone. Okay, so we have now installed the application onto our phone, and we are now opening the application, and this is the very first screen you come to. There are three options here. You've got continue with Apple, that might say something slightly different on an Android device. You've got sign up and log in. So continue with Apple is what it's going to do is pull in your credentials that you already use to log into your Apple account and make an account for you based on those. You can sign in if you already have an account. Now, important information at this particular stage is that chances are if you're using an XP machine and you've gone onto the download cloud server, you'd have had to have created a login for that as well. And those logins are applicable to this. So if you already have a login, then chances are you're going to be able to just log straight in by going here in login. And if you have never used XP before, or if you haven't got any of their metal detectors and you're just downloading this to use it with whatever brand of detector you've got, then all you would need to do is just hit sign up, and then here you can just put in your first name, your email address, blah, 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 blah. Really, really simple. It will send an email to your email before you can log in, and that's just because it wants to verify that that is the correct email address for you. And that is pretty much it. So I'm just going to log in now, and yeah, let's take a look at the app. Okay, so we are now inside of the app. We have signed in with our credentials or created a new one using the sign in tab. And one of the very first things that you're going to be prompted to do is to pick which particular subscription that you're after. Now, the reason why this is a paid subscription service, by the way, is because all of the data that you use isn't saved to your phone. So if you take a photo of a find, or you mark that this particular spot of ground is quite sort of mineralized, etc., then it's going to save all that to your own account, but it's going to be saved onto the XP cloud server, and that's so that it's always accessible to you. So if you lose your phone, then you don't have to worry about it. They've backed it up, it's on their servers, and it makes it nice and easy. So really all you're actually doing is just paying for storage somewhere, just to store all of your pictures, all of your trips out, and all the things that are associated with your digging. And there are three levels here. We've got standard, we've got premium, and we've got Premium France. So look, I'm not going to go into each one of these with fine detail. However, what I would say to you is that if you are in the UK or the USA or anywhere else, you're probably not going to want Premium France. And I'll tell you why you don't want Premium France. It's because with Premium France, you get access to things called IGN mapping. And that is France's equivalent mapping to the national survey mapping that's available in the UK. So in the UK, if you want to research maps or old maps, you normally go and find ordnance survey maps. Well, in France, they're not called ordnance survey maps, they're actually called IGN maps. And that is why in this particular subscription, it's designed for people in France, because they've obviously tested it primarily in France and they've managed to get access to all of those maps, and you can layer them over the field that you're actually detecting in. So I wouldn't worry too much at the moment about Premium France, but I am very sure that XP are going to release one that is going to be a Premium UK, Premium USA, Premium Italy, Belgium. You wait, once the app data becomes available, they're going to really customize these subscriptions based on the country that you live in and the maps that you want to see. So the other two is standard and premium. Well, guys, this is an annual payment. Standard is £4.49 a year and premium is £8.99. I mean, honestly, you're not spending an awful lot here, and the benefits between standard and premium are so huge that it is entirely worth that extra £4. Just go ahead and get premium. It's going to be the best one for you to use it with, and it certainly will give you all of the features you need in order to be able to get yourself going with Go Terrain. Okay, so we have downloaded the app from the App Store, we have signed up or logged in, and we have now picked our subscription service. This is going to be the very first thing that you are seeing when you open the GoTerrain app. So let's just go through a little bit about what you're seeing, what's here, and hopefully how you can kind of use it going straight out and just doing some detecting with it. So the first thing you're going to notice is that it's pinpointed your location. It's doing that via the GPS chip that's built into your mobile device, okay? And what you'll notice along the top here is that you have got your options tab. It tells you that you're obviously using GoTerrain. It's got your precision down to however accurate you can get it. And it's got whether or not your deus is linked to your app. So, precision at the moment is telling me that mine is got a precision value of up to 7 meters, okay? Now that can go down to feet, but it depends on where you are in the world and how many satellites you're actually attached to, okay? So 7 meters isn't too bad, and actually it's picked me up here in my house relatively accurately, so I'm not going to be too bothered about that in the field. And just so you know, if you click on precision, you can give it a little tap, and what it will essentially do is refresh that precision rate and make it a little bit better. And as you can see, we've now gone down to 6 meters, so we've made it slightly more accurate just by giving it a little tap. The next box along the top, you can see we've got deus ORX sync. Now this is where your actual deus remote attaches to the app itself, and it does that via Bluetooth, okay? And it's really, really simple to attach, and the benefits of having your remote attached to the app is that you get live target feedback, and it pops up in the app, and you've got 3 seconds to push it. So let's imagine you're out in the field and your coil goes over a nice coin, okay? Well, it's gonna give you a coin value on the VDI of about 83 to 84. It's gonna pop up, and on the GoTerrain app, as long as you've got push enabled on the actual RC itself, it will pop up on the app and it will give you 3 seconds to push it, and then you can log that find. And the reason why that's really, really good is not only does it give you a really, really accurate location of where you found that particular object, but it also records the actual VDI number for you. And you can also add things like how deep it was, whether the ground was mineralized. You can take a picture of it. You can do a little audio note if there was any particular, notes that you wanted to add about that find in there. And it's really, really cool. So it prompts you to add it to your route whilst you are using GoTerrain. And I really, really like that. I think it's really, really good. And it uses Bluetooth. It's nice and simple. It's definitely worth considering linking it up. But of course, they've done that as an added extra because not everyone that's going to be using this app is going to be an XP user. This app can be used by absolutely anyone in the world. You don't even have to be a metal detectorist. You could just go out riding your bike, and if you see, I don't know, a nice tree or a deer or something, then you could probably stop on your route, take a picture of it, and finish when you get home. So it's really, really versatile in that sense. But yeah, definitely worth considering linking it up to your remote if you are an XP deus user. And next up, you've got the bottom line here as well. So the first button you'll see is a single icon of somebody metal detecting. This means that you are in solo mode. Now, if you push it once, it's going to say group mode activated. And what that essentially is doing is that it's searching for other people, and you can assign other people in your groups. You can add like friends and groups within the app as well. So if you go out with people regularly, then you can actually just assign them in a little friends group. So that when you go out, you just hit the group icon here, it will look for them, and then you guys can basically go out, start digging in sync with each other. So the idea is that when you eventually have set everything up and you push go, it starts it on everyone's device, and then everyone can go out and do the metal detecting. And then when you finish, you can finish it, and then everyone gets to look back and see where they've been, what they found. Or if you are in a massive field and your friend is absolutely miles and miles away, well, guess what? You're going to be able to see where he is. You're going to be able to see what he's found. You're going to be able to see the VDI number of what he's found. And just by looking at your phone using the GoTerrain app. Absolutely amazing. And the next button along the bottom bar here is the settings tab, which is always notifiable because it's a cog. You just hit that button there and it's going to load up some of the settings for you. Now, these are settings that are essentially relevant to your dig or to your kind of session, okay? Now, if you look along the top, this particular bar is relevant to the app. So these are what I would consider to be global settings, but the ones at the bottom are very much kind of individual customizations that might make the app better or worse for you, okay? So if you go into the settings tab, you're going to see things like path line. It will say, do you want the path line on or off? Well, obviously you're going to want it on because you're going to want to see where you've been in the field, where your friends have been in the field, but it does give you the option to turn it off. And the reason why they've given you that option is because it could save your battery power, or, you know, if you don't have an area where you've got particularly good GPS signal on your device, then not much point in having it on because it isn't going to track you very well anyway. So you can literally just hit the button, turn it off, and then you can still go out and detect and just log your finds. It's just not going to have that line of where you've been for that particular session. So one thing you can also do is change the color of the line. Now, in the app itself, they give you this little box and it's just to demonstrate what it will look like when you go out on your session. And at the moment you can see that the line is red. Well, you can change the color of that line literally just by going through the options here and picking a color that you think is good for you. Again, more relevant if you're going out on group digs, because of course it would be absolutely crazy for you all to have the same line. Definitely pick a different color line if you're going out in groups, just so you know who it is and who's been where. You can also change the line width, okay? So you can make it really, really thin so you can hardly see it, or you can make it absolutely huge so it really stands out. So, you know, plenty of applications for that. I think it's just, you know, personal preference. I would say that if you're working the same field with a group of people, then probably go for a bit of a thinner line, okay, rather than a thick line, because otherwise it's just going to look really, really messy. But I think the happy medium is probably around the middle. It's a relatively good, decent sized line, but without kind of overtaking the screen too much. And next up in the settings menu, you've got something here which says crossing of path lines. So what this essentially is going to do is it's going to notify you if you cross the path of one of your other group members, or potentially even your own path. So where you've been in the field, it's going to leave a line or a trace, just like a kind of slug in your garden. You know, you can see where he's been. Now, it's going to detect whether or not you go over that line again, or it's going to detect you're going over a line that potentially somebody in your go-terrain party has already done. And what it's actually doing here is it's giving you the choice of saying, I will notify you by giving you a vibration or, you know, a notification if you do go over that line, but you can turn it on and you can turn it off. So don't worry too much if you're working in an area that's really, really tight-knit and you're quite close to everyone, because you can just turn it off and it just means that your phone isn't going to be vibrating constantly every time you go near someone's line, but every time especially you cross that particular line. So next up we have got detection zone. Detection zone is relatively simple. All it means is that you can segregate a part of the field, either for yourself to detect or whether or not it's for your party to detect, and so on. Okay, it's really, really simple. So you've got the option to show the detection zone and you can turn that on and off, and you've got outside vibration zone, and that is very similar to the crossing of the paths, where it will essentially make your phone vibrate or send you a notification if you go outside of your detection zone. So detection zones, really, really simple. You can go into the menu here and you can draw a detection zone, okay? Now, look, guys, I'm at my house, I'm not out in the field, but if we wanted to, I could draw a detection line around my house, and that essentially means that I've got myself a little area to detect, and if I accidentally wander out of it, then the phone's gonna buzz or vibrate or send me a push notification and go, you're outside of your detection line, you need to get back in. So how you would essentially do this is you would set up your detection line by drawing its perimeter. So you would put one dot here, one dot here, one dot here, and one dot here. I've now created a sort of offish square around my detection zone, okay? And that means now that if I go back to the previous screen with the menu and I click on Show Detection Zone, what Show Detection Zone is going to do is back in the map, I can now see a box around my detection zone, and that essentially means that I'll be able to visually see where my detection zone is, and obviously I probably won't need the audio thing there as well. You can also have the detection zone on but without actually seeing it, so you would just turn that off. And then if you go back to the map, the detection zone is still on, you just can't see it on the screen. So it just means that you're going to get a notification or a vibration if you do go outside of it, but it's not visible to you. So just one more thing on detection zones. If you want to clear the detection zone and you just want to get rid of it or start again, or if you put one of the dots in the wrong place, then all you need to do is just click this little circle icon up here, and that will reset your detection zone, get rid of it completely, and then you can start again. Okay, so that's a really, really simple way for you to just clear that detection zone that you've set, go back to normal, or start again with your detection zone. So going back to the menu screen at the bottom, we've gone through the settings tab now. The next one we've got is layers, okay? Now layers is relevant to the map that you see in the background here. You can see that you can have a normal map for your base map, you can have a satellite map, or you can have a ground map, okay? Now, to be honest, the only difference between a satellite and a ground map is that it is a satellite map, but it's merged in the information like road names, street names, and things like that. So ground is an amalgamation of normal and satellite. It's just kind of got all the information in there. Generally, if you're working fields and you're in the middle of nowhere, road names, street names, those sorts of things are going to be completely irrelevant to you, so you won't need it. So I have just gone initially for the satellite view, and that's a relatively recent Google image there. I think it's about 2019, something like that. So I'm happy with that. And sticking with mapping, you've just got a couple of added extra little layers and things in the mapping section that you can use. As I say, at the moment, I mean, IGN maps, it's irrelevant to me because I'm in the UK. So unless you are living in France, then yes, you can click that tab and you will get access to the IGN maps available to France. However, in time, you've got to remember that this was almost a kind of accidental release, so it wasn't quite ready for the UK market yet, and that essentially means they just haven't got the mapping systems that they wanted ready for you to be able to open it in the UK and see all these wonderful historic maps that you can just layer over the top. But it will be coming for sure, and when it does, it will just arrive in the list at the bottom here, and you're pretty much good to go. So yeah, there's not really a lot to the layering system at the moment. And if I'm perfectly honest with you, when you're detecting, you know, the last thing you really want to be doing is looking at historic ordnance survey maps anyway. Chances are you're probably just going to be using your bog standard satellite imagery for 99% of the trips that you do. So we've got a couple more features that we just need to have a quick run through. You've got this button here, very similar to your maps or your navigational software that you probably use in your car. It just means that if you scroll along here and you have a look here and you go, oh wow, that's you know, really interesting, and then you go, wait, where am I? You can just push this button once and it will take you straight back to your location. Nice and simple, nice and easy. And some of the other things we've got as well at the top. So remember, this is our global menu. This is where we sort of set up the app, set up your account, set up your subscriptions and things like that. Okay. So for instance, you can look down through this menu here and you've got maps initially. Well, it's just going to take you back to this screen. That's all it does. My activities is your previous sessions, okay? So if you go out for the day with a couple of friends and you start it in the morning, finish it in the afternoon, then that logs it as a previous activity, and you can view all of those by clicking that particular tab there. Next, you've got My Targets. Now, this is going to be your online database of the things that you found and the things that you have logged, and this is how you would access them. It's important to note that it is an encrypted server, so it's going to be a very difficult thing for other people to be able to hack into your permissions and see what you found, where you found it exactly. So It's not an easy thing to do. So don't worry too much about, you know, your data being kind of put out there for everyone to see. Unless somebody gets hold of your app and they know your login with your password, then they aren't going to know anything at all. So it is really, really safe in that respect. So next in the menu, we have got My Contacts. And this is why I said earlier that you can create contact lists, contact groups, and you can actually just put them all here into your contacts list. So if somebody else has got the Go Terrain app, then you can just add their username into your contacts, or you can create a group here as well. It's very similar to how your address book probably works on your phone. You're just adding in contacts for people that, you know, you might go out with, or that you've been on a group dig with, etc., etc. Notifications here, these are just your push notifications. So as I said, if there's updates available for the app, you might get a push notification landing, or if you go over your marker, or you know, anything that involves the app sort of vibrating and needs to tell you something, it will arrive in your notifications box, okay? About Go Terrain, if you want to see what version you're on, or, you know, read the manual or anything like that, then you would just click in that particular box there. But you do have all of the manuals for each of your detectors here as well. I quite like this feature because sometimes you're in a place where you don't have signal, or you know, you certainly don't want to be carrying your manual around with you everywhere you go. So it's quite nice to actually have all of the manuals available to you in one place, and that's what XP have done here. They've given you the Go Terrain manual in case you want to read up about a specific area that, you know, the Go Terrain app is, or they've given you the original Deus, the ORX, or the Deus 2. So really, really interesting. You know, if you sat eating your sandwiches at lunch and you just want to refresh, you know, some of the settings in one of your machines, then you can just click on the app, go straight there, and yeah, you've got all the manuals there ready to go. Okay, so before we move on to the actual session menus, what it's going to look like when you're out and about, I just want to quickly demonstrate how you would connect your Deus RC or your ORX RC into the app itself. So it's really, really simple. You just need to make sure that you have got Bluetooth turned on your mobile device, okay? So go into the settings, make sure you've got Bluetooth turned on, and you should be pretty much ready to go. So you'll need to go and grab your RC, turn it on, make sure that that's on, your mobile's on, and your Bluetooth's on. And then all you do is you go up here to this red button and you hit it once, and it will say Bluetooth. We've detected that we've got Bluetooth on, and it will ask you to search for your remote. You hit that button once, and as long as your remote is in a relatively close distance to your mobile device, then it should detect its Bluetooth and it will link up. And what you'll then see when it's linked, I haven't got my remote turned on at the moment, is you'll actually see the serial number pop up here of the coil that is attached to your remote, okay? So that is how simple it is. And once it's linked, you don't have to actually go in and do it again. It's just done, and it's simple and it's fast. And yeah, big thumbs up from me to XP on that one. Really, really nice. Okay, so now we have talked about the Go Terrain app. We've looked at some of its features, what they do, how you can set it up for you. Then this is how you would go out, do some metal detecting for yourself, and what it would look like. So you've opened up the app and you've gone in, you've decided whether or not you're going to do a solo session if you're on your own, or a group session. You've already dictated what you want the lines to be, and if you want any detection zones active. You've picked your map in the background, so I've picked satellite, and you've done that via the layers session here, and you are ready to go. So you imagine you're stood in the field, your detector's on, and you're just about ready to go and start a session. Well, guess what, guys? You push the nice big green button here that says go, and we'll do that now. So what it's going to do is start our session, okay? It does it instantly when you push the green button, and that gives you a whole new section of different buttons that appear under the mapping menu. So here you can pause your session. So it's lunchtime, or you know, you need to just quickly nip off and water the hedge. Hit pause, everything stops, timer stops, your path stops until you come back and hit play again. Nice and simple. It's telling you here how long your session is, so really cool if you're never really too sure how long you're out detecting for. Make sure you start it at the beginning of your session, finish it at the very end of your session, and now you've got a good timer as to how long you've been in the field. It's telling you that you found 0 targets yet today, but of course, you know, there's going to be plenty of opportunities to find targets when you're out in the field. And if you haven't got it linked to your DS remote via the push mechanism, then essentially you can manually add targets here, and you just push that button here just to add the icons in. So what it's saying here is it's saying you found this particular target at this particular location, and it gives you a set amount of icons to use. Now obviously these icons can be, you know, lots of different things. You can actually not just use it for targets itself. You could say, well, actually here the ground was quite waterlogged, or you know, there's a lot of iron infestation in this ground, so you don't actually have to use it for finds specifically, but you could log the ground conditions of the place that you're in, so that if you return in 6 months or a year's time, you don't have to remember. The app will have it all there ready for you, and you can go, oh, actually I'll stay away from that corner of the field because there's loads of iron in there, or something like that. Okay, so yeah, you've got plenty of options as to what you want to do. And if you go onto the details tab here, well, look, you know, you can put the size of your target, you can give it a specific target ID number, what period it was from, what metal it was made out of. You can write a description in here. It's really, really cool. Honestly, I mean, if you're finding loads and loads of targets, chances are this is probably going to waste a lot of your time, because you're going to want to put all this information in. And you can be really, really stringent about it. You can absolutely fill out absolutely all the information about each individual target. Personally, if it's me, I would only really do it for something that's valuable, something that's not, you know, a base metal, gold, silver, jewellery, or just something with some sort of historic value. Otherwise, you know, it's just going to be maybe a quick picture and then crack on with detecting, because, you know, you don't want to waste too much time worrying about logging the apps and how deep they were, etc., etc. So at the bottom, you've also got which type of media that you want to associate with this find. And if you click here, you'll be able to take a picture of the find in your hand or wherever you want to put it using the camera on your mobile device. You can click this one and you can record a voice note up to 30 seconds. And here you can actually do a small video as well. So if you want to log a small video into the cloud server, then that's absolutely fine. There is a limit to the videos. I can't remember how long they are, but obviously you don't want to be recording an hour video for one find anyway. So just try and keep them as short and sweet as possible. Once you've filled in all that information about the target, let's give it a ring symbol, okay? You're going to push save target. And then regardless of where you walk, that target's always going to be logged to that specific GPS location. Nice and simple, okay? So moving on with the map menu at the bottom here, if you want to change your layer whilst you're out live in your session, then without finishing your session, you can do it while the session has started, which means you don't have to go back and stop the session. So that's why they've given you that option there. And the very last button here is stop. Okay, so that's at the end of the day, or if you want to stop your session completely, then that's the button you would push. So let's go ahead and stop this session. It's going to say, are you sure? Well, yep, we are sure. We're finished with that session now. It's going to want you to name your session. It says, do you want to synchronize this? Now, what synchronize means is that it's going to save it to the cloud, all right? If you don't, then it's probably just going to be saved relatively local or on your mobile device. So it's probably important that you synchronize your activity just to make sure you've got a backup of it. So definitely make sure that that box is ticked. You've got a list of targets here. Well, we only found one, okay? So that was the ring symbol. Name it, do what you want with it, hit done, and here at the bottom you'll see save activity, okay? Now don't worry too much if you save something that you don't want to save, because you can go into your activity list at a later date and actually delete them as well. And if you want to share those files with other people, you can actually send them your activity log as well, as long as you send it and it's from, you know, a legitimate source. Can be really handy if somebody else is going into a field that you've already done. You can say, look, don't go here, I've already been here and this was the path I took and these were the things that I found. So now we've got a session in our history. If we ever want to go back and see that session, we just click on the button here and we go here to where it says My Activities, and you'll notice that we've got the activity we just did with one find, and that particular session lasted for about 5 minutes. This here is a filter icon, by the way, and that means that if you've got various sessions, you can filter between, well, I only want to see solo sessions. So you would click this and you would say, I only want to see solo sessions, or I want to see sessions that started on this day or that day, and then it would only show you those. All right, so you've got to imagine using this for years and years and years and years, and you're going to have tons of sessions, tons of data on there. So it's going to be a really handy tool just to quickly find one specifically. You could even use the search icon at the top here and search for a specifically named activity that you've done in the past as well. And that is pretty much it for the app. It's a really handy tool. I'm really glad to obviously get out and start using the app. I know a lot of people have been waiting a very long time for this app, and there obviously have been some teething problems in the background with trying to get it work smoothly, but yeah, so far I've used it a couple of times. I've actually used it on a separate account, which is why those particular activities aren't stored on my mobile device, but I've been using it a few times and I'm really impressed with it. I think it's really good. I think this is going to be such a great tool for any type of metal detectorist, whether you're rivers, fields, beaches, absolutely whatever. I think people out there, regardless of what type of machine that you use, are going to absolutely love this app, because really and truly it is the metal detectorist's friend. And yeah, it's just an absolute really good tool to have in your box whilst you're out in the field. And hopefully, guys, make sure your batteries are charged before you get out. But one little tip I'll give you is it's definitely worth picking up a little spare battery pack for your phone, just in case your battery runs flat and you've got a few hours left and you're detecting. You don't want to prematurely end your session, so it's always worth carrying a little battery pack so you can just plug your phone straight in, keep that session going, keep your phone on, and then yeah, keep everything as smooth as possible. So that's pretty much it for this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I'm just going to leave you with a couple of little things that I've noticed so far, and it's just something for you guys to be aware of when you're downloading the app or you're going to be using it for the first time as well. When you initially download the app and you create an account and you get access to it and you subscribe, then you are locked into that account. There is no way of you changing that subscription to a different account. In fact, there's no way of you even signing out of your account at the moment on the app. The only way to swap accounts to maybe a different email address, if you accidentally, signed up with the wrong email address or whatever, is to delete the app entirely and then re-sign in with the new credentials, okay? But as I said, if you've paid for premium, it will be linked to your email address. So at the moment, you might get away with emailing XP and saying, oh no, I've accidentally paid for the wrong subscription, could I possibly transfer it? But I don't know at what stage they are in the total full release development of that yet. I'm pretty sure that will definitely be a thing. XP are a great company, they're very much customer focused, so I wouldn't worry too much. But at the moment, guys, just make sure if you do subscribe to the premium service, you do it on the right email address, because otherwise it will be pretty tricky for you to reverse that or certainly get your money back. Okay, so there is the app. You've seen it, how it works, how we get it on your phone, how we can utilize some of the features, and how you can customize it for how you want to do some metal detecting out in the field. As I said, it's a free app for everybody to download, so I do really suggest that you go and check it out, because it's going to be a really cool tool for anybody that's into metal detecting, treasure hunting, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a really good thing. I am just going to say off the bat that it's not perfect at the moment. There's a reason why it wasn't quite ready to be unleashed to the world, but at the end of the day, the UK has now got a huge pool of people that are going to test this app and hopefully iron out some of the little niggly bits, so that everybody else, when they get to download it on the App Store, it's going to be ready for them to go without any bugs or anything like that. But what do I think of it? I think it's really, really good. I have used it a few times, as I said in the video, and I found it really, really interesting. One thing I haven't used is the group sessions yet. I've mainly used it in solo, so I'm going to be really excited to try out that and see how accurate it is. But of course, at this stage as well, if I do encounter any problems, I'm just going to report them back to XP, and hopefully, you know, we can get a resolve and get it running as absolutely as smooth as possible. So there we are, guys. That's the video this week. Do hang around, because next week we are going to have a proper metal detecting video back on the channel. So it's been a little while. I've actually been away on holiday and I've been a little bit under the weather as well. So I caught this awful cold, but you guys don't want to know about that. So yeah, stay tuned on the channel, because there's going to be plenty more content. And of course, if you did like this video and you found it really, really helpful, then do drop us a thumbs up on the channel. And of course, if you want to see any more videos from myself, then you just have to hit that subscribe button below. But that's enough for me today. I will see all of you on the very next video.